I mean, we can build a big building and have nice studios and have all the bells and whistles, but it's who's in this building that makes it happen.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another Ready, Set, Grow, insights and ideas to help our advisors grow their practice. I'm Rob Scott. I happen to be a part of the Impact Partnership Radio Department or division, and alongside me is Robert Bacik, who is our media buyer. And we're supposed to be here today talking just about radio and about how we get it where it belongs, which is on radio stations. And we were talking before we even sat down, Robert, that what comes first, you know, chicken, egg kind of thing, whether it's something that we do in the radio division or whether it's something that you do when it comes to media buying. I'll start with a quick question because I don't know exactly. How many years have you been out there talking to radio stations, TV stations, and so forth and placing our
A long time.
You weren't gray at the time? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. No. I was, brown hair and 30 years later, yes, they're 30 years.
Well, what's interesting is, there's so many things I like to talk about when folks ask me about doing radio at Impact. And one of those things is that our department is packed with experience. Yes. I don't know that a lot of the other IMOs can say this. We pluck great talent from one of the largest markets in the country. And it is a room of people that I have either worked with in the past or that I've known about, certainly. A lot of veterans, in fact, all veterans really of the business. No one starts doing radio at Impact. They start doing radio in radio. Right. And I'm wondering, you're practically the same thing. You didn't start buying media at Impact.
No, I've worked for a couple different agencies in the past, been buying media for national and local regional brands for years. And then came to Impact about 11 years ago and haven't looked back.
Not only that, you don't sit down. I don't know if you know this, but the man does not sit down. He stands at his desk all day, which fascinates me because if I have to just walk to and from desks, I'm tired.
I stay focused that way.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, or at least ask you about, I've heard you mention the fact that when you're placing buys on behalf of our radio department, that many of the folks you talk to give us preferential treatment because of the quality of the work.
Yes, that's a great point. Yeah, a lot of times our reputation precedes us. You know, the product that we produce, radio shows, commercials, all that. When we send those to stations, when we call, they know that it's going to be a good product, especially with all the big media companies where we have multiple shows across the country. I pick up the phone, and when I call and I say, hey, do we have anything available? Even if they don't, at the time, they're going to look to get us on there. And then a lot of times we move up to better time slots on radio show time slots because of the quality of our show.
That's what I was going to ask next. Yeah. Like if you give them a ring and they say, no, Robert, we don't have this now, but then when they say they'll call you back, they actually do call you back.
They do call me back, yeah. I actually had a meeting the other day with one of our media partners and one of our clients, and we were talking about, hey, we want to move up to a better time slot. And they're like, you guys are next in line, and we've had other clients on this station for longer than you guys have been here, but because you guys are Impact, we are going to put you in line first. So we have literally leapfrogged other advertisers to get us to a better time slot, and we're always pushing for that too. It's like it's not set it and forget about it. We're always interacting with the radio station to make sure that we are getting a better time slot.
So when you say better time slot,
yeah,
what are we talking?
So, you know, we may get on a station and the only availability is, let's just call it 6 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Okay. There's still people listening. There's always going to be people listening, especially on a big news talk station. But if we can move up to where we see typically midday, late morning, midday on a Saturday or Sunday is usually the ideal slot. Doesn't have to be. I mean, we've had clients that have been on at 5 o'clock on a Sunday and they built their business off of it. So it really depends on the quality of the show is number one, because listeners are going to listen to a good show when they tune in. But where the majority of the people are, you got to think about how people drive around in their cars, right? Because that's where the majority of the people are listening. You know, on a Saturday morning, what are you doing? You get up, you go to Home Depot, you go to soccer games, things like that. You know, by about 3, 4 in the afternoon, you're probably in the middle of something or back home.
Mowing the lawn.
Yeah, mowing the lawn, whatever. But so it kind of goes with the way life goes.
Well, which is neat, and something you just said there that we kind of want to pat our radio department on the back is when you said the quality. So the quality of what we do helps you when it comes to placing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And in fact, there's something we do these media summits here from time to time,
right.
And where we bring in advisors and hopefully get them excited as you and I are about the media department, right, here at Impact Partnership. And one of the things we talk about in those media summits is the power of sound, and that's something we like to refer to when it comes to radio. And these are long-form shows. For those who don't know, they're long-form shows. And so you would hear them normally on a Saturday or Sunday. And the neat part is, what Robert just said, is ours don't sound like everybody else's. That's why you get preferential treatment. Right. We take a big part of pride. We take a lot of pride in the fact that whether they be 30 or 60 minutes, that these showcase our advisors. We aren't the star, which is something that, believe me, for a lot of ego radio people that was an adjustment for all of us,
Sure.
But they are the star. We just kind of keep them from falling off the rails. We have a gentleman here who's got 30, 40 years in fact, he's in the Georgia Broadcast Hall of Fame. His name is Rob Stadler, and he does all of our outlines. So that's something that our advisors don't have to fool with anymore. That they can he writes out all these great questions based on what happened. Well, you know this, but I'm just trying to help the folks who are watching. Anyway, he puts that together. Then we sit down with one of our many co-hosts who are all, as we said, experienced. And then they put together either 30 or 60 minutes. We also do the commercials and you place those buys as well.
Yeah, and that's a great point because we don't just do 60-second commercials. We actually created 2-minute commercials years ago. And that idea was really born out of Impact because a lot of radio stations don't like 2-minute commercials because they want to get back. They want to be able to sell more and more commercials during the breaks and get back to content. But the way we create our 2-minute commercials, it is content. And so program directors at stations that say, oh, no, we don't do 2-minute commercials. And then they hear our 2-minute commercials and, hey, let's go ahead and put some of these 2-minute commercials on radio. I just had that conversation with a radio station the other day, and they're working on it. So we've actually been able to not only move time slots, and some of those radio time slots, they've moved station programming out to move us in.
So they've taken their stuff away to let Impact take its place.
Same thing with the 2-minute commercials. We've got a promo that runs. We can remove that fixed promo that's there every single day. They've had it there for years, and we're going to move that out. And we're going to put it somewhere else so you guys can have a 2-minute commercial in this fixed position. So
you've got some clout in this industry, sir.
I've been doing it for a long time, and we have great partners. Not only advisors but also radio stations and TV stations. We work with all of them around the country, and again, when we call, it's about we're spending a lot of money. To around the country with all these stations, but it's not only about the money. It is about they're trying to put out a good product, and when we can provide a good product to them, then it's a win-win for everybody.
Speaking of money, you have saved a lot of clients a lot of money.
Yes. Yeah.
Example for
without
using names and numbers.
Yeah, I mean we've had multiple examples of that, but a lot of times advisors come to us and they already had a radio show or a radio buy that either they did themselves or another IMO or an agency did it for them or another media buyer did it for them. And, I look at it and go, we don't need this, we don't need that. There's a lot of fluff in there. But in every dollar counts, especially in this industry, because the number one thing is we're trying to generate leads.
Sure.
And there's a lot of things that are great for branding, but there are a lot of things that are great for lead generation, and we tend to focus more on the lead generation side, which you're always going to get the branding with that as well.
Right.
So yes, we've had examples where I get a buy, I look at it, and I'm, nope, let's get rid of all these things here, the sponsorship, these 30s, these 60-second commercials. Let's do a show and do 2-minute commercials, and let's actually put it on the right station because sometimes it's not even the right station.
Right.
And then we've saved $30,000, $50,000, $80,000 a year for some buys that we've done.
So, like, I'm doing a comparison here in my head. Our advisors a lot of times will do a retirement checkup or an X-ray, and they will go into their clients' portfolios and look where the wasteful spending is and the wasteful investments are. And you're basically doing the same for them. You're just spinning the table there and saying, I can help, because they don't know this area.
No.
I mean, nothing against advisors, but broadcasting, and something you've been a part of, and I have too for a long time, a lot of folks don't know it. They consume it, and they think they know it, but then they get in there. The ROI part, you make sure that I is not too heavy-handed.
Exactly. And a lot of times it's because it's what the salesperson at the radio station or TV station sells them.
Right.
Because they look at them as the expert. I mean, I've had advisors say to me, "This, our person at the TV station, presented these options, and we went with it, and because they told us this is what's going to move the needle." And then I look at it and go, "Well, 75% of that isn't going to move the needle to get people in butts in seats."
Right.
We're going to make sure our goal is to get butts in seats. So we're going to make sure that every dollar you spend, I'm going to spend it like it's my money. And it's my business. I'm not going to spend it just because we're going to make money on it, because we don't make money on it. Because we don't charge a 15% commission like a lot of IMOs and
break that down, because I don't even understand that. So what happens on that? What do other areas? What are other folks doing that we don't do?
So a lot of times agencies and IMOs will charge 15% commission to do the media buy. And so they're making additional money off their partners.
Okay.
Right? We don't do that because we feel this is a true partnership, and we're in it with you, basically. And so if we are buying, we're going to buy it. We're not going to charge you 15%. We're looking to be successful based off of, we have that much confidence in what we do that we are going to make our money on the back end based on your production by being a partner with Impact.
Sure.
We're not going to charge you up front for a 15%. You're paying the net price to a station.
Basically, we don't charge a cover charge.
Yeah, we don't have a cover charge to get into our party.
Right. So speaking of the party that we don't charge them cover charge to come into, that's kind of like what I think we do in the radio division, or in our department, is we create the content. But we were all broadcasters at one time. We all came from broadcasting. But in essence, what we do here, we're not broadcasters. We're a production house. We produce great radio. And then you, of course, place those buys, and everyone likes it to the point where you get a little preferential treatment, which is neat. But let's face it, the reason we're in business is to help other people in their business. We have to generate leads. And so with that creative that we do, we put together the commercials, we put together the 30 or the 60-minute shows, and you put them on the air. But lead generation is the reason that we're placing these things, and we've got to get the phone to ring.
Right.
We want people to listen to our advisors, say, wow, that guy or that lady sound great, and I want to find out more, and they call. But we've also got something in place for those calls when they happen, right? I mean, call rail, for example.
Yes. So we have a tracking service we use. So every radio show, every radio commercial, every TV show, everything has a phone number that we can track. Every call. We can listen to the calls. We can see, not only where are they, what their retirement concerns are, but also, what the value of that, how much they have saved for retirement. So, we've had many, many quality calls. We're not talking like, I have, $50,000. I mean, $500,000, million, $3 million. Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of quality leads that come through. I mean, just in the past, year to date, I mean, we're already over, TV and radio combined, we're over 8,000 responses.
And over year too, we're tracking well.
Oh yeah, we're over 20% over what we were last year. It just keeps growing, and I think radio is like almost 40% over last year. So people are listening to radio. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
that's
one
thing I want to
hear
bring.
People say that to me. I'll be at a cocktail party or dinner party or something, and I'll say I'm a radio guy, and they'll say, "Oh, it's dying, isn't it?" And I can't disagree more. And now your numbers are backing that up.
Yeah, I mean, we get the research, and because we subscribe to Nielsen, so we can see in each market how many people are listening to the radio station, and at different times. That's how we really look and select the different time slots that we really want. But we see that, so we know people are listening. But a lot of times, like, I don't know, radio. Maybe we do podcasts, maybe we do these other digital things, which we do too. Also, we're not only buying regular terrestrial radio. We're also buying audio streaming. We're buying digital TV streaming ads. We can do all that. But the ones that generate the most leads is the tried and true terrestrial radio and television.
Good old fashioned
broadcasts. Yeah.
Yeah. Turn on the radio in the car and listen to someone talk about the fact that you need some help when it comes to your retirement.
Right. Yeah.
I also am interested in the fact that when we use these call systems, the call rail system, that actually our advisors can listen to the actual calls too.
Yes, they'll get an email notification when somebody calls, and they can listen to those calls.
Because I can't tell, my background, as you probably know, but maybe some folks don't, is I've been writing and producing radio commercials for 30 years before I came here. And one of the biggest hurdles was clients would say, how do I know if it's working?
Yeah.
How do I know if my commercial is going to work, is going to bring me the results that I want? In other words, return on my investment. With CallRail, we've got that covered as well.
We've got that covered. And for a long time, even with us in the early years, we didn't know. We were like, okay, well, they're continuing to do radio, so it must be working.
Right.
And the thing is, we're only capturing a certain number of responses. So this is another point to make, is those are the ones that call in from the radio show or TV segment, whatever it is. But we also hear about, people going on the website, they're filling out forms to set appointments. They're going to the website because people are going to Google you if they're thinking about working with you a lot of the times, and they're going to go to the website and they're going to call the number on the website. So what we see is only it's a high fraction, but it's a fraction of all the response you're getting and all the extra value you're getting, the branding, the celebrity, all the other things that come along with doing a radio show.
That's something we didn't even touch on yet is on tour events where we send our clients and also record everything and shoot everything on video, and they meet with folks from the music industry, from television, from film, and that also helps, I think, elevate our product versus our competitors.
Yeah, 100%.
Another thing that I'm blown away by, and again, I've been in the game a while just like you, is the toys we have in this building. 12, 14 radio studios, 4 of which are Premiere. And then we're sitting in our digital video studio now. And then right next door is our television studio. And I can tell you, I have worked in combo buildings which had radio and television in major markets. And one of the ABC affiliates I worked with years ago they have nothing on our television studio here.
Oh, it's the best. We actually had some folks come in, from one of the local TV stations a few weeks ago, and we gave them the tour, and they were blown away. They were like, "This is better than our studio." And we've had, we're a major top 10 market TV station, right?
I mean, we have not only the toys, but the talent that knows how to use them.
Yes, that's the most important.
This is the first time that I've ever had a job where I'm working in the radio division, and there's no weak links.
Right.
Any job you have, there's usually that guy or that lady who you like, but not here. Everyone some days I'm almost embarrassed to be included because I think the talent level here is so high.
Right.
And again, then you say that translates to your relationships with all these stations, all these companies across the country to make sure, well, like we say, we produce something here, and then without you, there's that chicken egg that we talked about at the beginning.
Right.
Without Robert, we can't distribute these great products that we produce here.
Right. And it's not just, we can build a big building and have nice studios and have all the bells and whistles, but it's who's in this building that makes it happen. Really,
it's the people.
It's the people.
It sounds cliche, but it's true.
But it is true. You're not going to meet anybody better for this to help you with your business than this.
And we've got the numbers to prove it. Not only the calls or the responses, but we can also talk about bottom line from clients. How many times have we had advisors that come in here and they're doing about $4 million a year, and by the time we get a hold of them in media, a couple of years later, 40, 50 million.
One thing that Macho says sometimes is in our EXPs is not only do we help your clients retire, we help our advisors retire.
Which we've had
a few do that because they were so successful.
Yeah. Cannot thank you enough for the time and listening to my goofy questions and answering them with so much class. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe, folks. I'm supposed to say, at the end of every radio show, we do what's called a CTA, a call to action. Let's do one here. Smash that subscribe button and click on the link below to reach out, find out more about what we do at the Impact Partnership. Robert, thank you.
Thank you. It was awesome.